Hello students, this is for class 9 first language English from the Department of School Education, Office of the Deputy Director, Bangalore North District. So this has a lot of grammar. It's a very important paper. Still have 8 more papers I'll be uploading. So please check out the channel. So the first question, the massacre ignite the volcanic minds of Indians. Identify the figure of speech. Is it personification, metaphor, simile, or alliteration? So the right option is it's a metaphor. Okay, so moving on to the next one. The coffee is rather bitter. Dash. You please pass some sugar. So fill in the blank with suitable models. Could, may, would, can. So the coffee is rather bitter. Would you please pass some sugar? So option C, would, is the right answer. If I dash walk fast, I would have won the race. So fill in the blank with past perfect form of the verb given in the bracket. Being walked, had walked, have walked, or walked. So if you see that, if I being walked, no. If I had walked, yes. If I have walked, no. If I walked, no. If I had walked fast, I would have won the race. So option B is the right answer. It is a beautiful day. Identify the suitable question tag. See, the sentence is in a positive format, so the question tag will be in the negative format. So option A, isn't it? Yes, absolutely right. It's isn't it. So it will not be is it will not be was it will not be wasn't it. Okay. So moving on to the next question, we have to dash the state finances before buying the vehicle. Fill in the blank with correct phrasal verbs. Look upon, look on, look into, look away. So we have to look into the state finances. So you are going to watch it out before buying the vehicle. So next question, afraid that he might have dash gun, he did she as she was told. So complete the sentence with article. So afraid that he might have a gun. Yes, absolutely right. A gun is the right answer. See, observe the relationship in the first pair of words and complete the second pair accordingly in the following paragraph. So it is thanks, thankful, moment, it's movable. So next it is humble, proud, ignore, acknowledge. Boorish, unpleasant, jest, it's joke. Leo, monologue, corrigible, it's incorrigible. See, sometimes they will ask the verb format, sometimes they'll ask the opposite, sometimes they'll ask other word, give a synonym, antonyms will be asked. So, and it could be also the opposite. So, please check out and do it perfectly. So, rewrite as directed, frame question to get the underlined what has the answer. So, the doctor talked to the patient yesterday. So, the answer is whom did the doctor talk to yesterday? So, the underlined thing has to come as the answer. So, what question you are going to frame? You have to tell the question. So, whom did the doctor talk to yesterday? The doctor talked to the patient yesterday. So, identify the main and subordinate clause in the following sentences. It was unfortunate that you were absent. So, it was unfortunate becomes the main clause. So, that you were absent because the becomes the subordinate clause. So use the word provided and write the sentence using if clause. It's the second conditionals. So Taj Mahal Chaya agar visit. It's Agra, I suppose. So if Chaya goes to Agra, then she will visit Taj Mahal. So next one, answer the following question. Combined the following pair of sentences by changing the adjectives underlined to noun forms. The actor was famous. He got him many endorsements. It got him many endorsements. So the answer comes, the actor's fame got him many endorsements. Means advertisements. So use the given phrasal verb in a sentence. Give up. I'll never give up on my aim in life. Okay, so next one, write the meaning of the given idiom. So $1,000,000 question. So what is the meaning? It's a very important question. It means that, or a very difficult to answer. It's a very difficult thing to answer. So identify the error and rewrite the sentence correctly. The population of China is greater than that of India. So the correct answer is the population of China is greater than that of India. So read the lines and pick out any four verbs. When the jet sprang into the sky, it was clear why the city had developed the way it had. Seeing it scaled 6 inches to the mile, there seemed an inevitable about what on ground had a look haphazard, unplanned, without style. When the jet sprang into the sky, when the jet reached 10,000 feet. So they are asking the question and pick out the four verbs. It's developed, seeing, seemed, and unplanned. In the poem given below, pick out the lines that speak about the endeavors of women is never fruitful, but neither the earth's nor woman's desire to manifest life dies. Take my advice. The idea of making a footpath was a good one. Those cannot bear the scorching and defeat of their courage are grafted onto the earth. So Kishwar Need draws attention to how hard society attempts to demon women. So she does not, however, make it clear that neither the earth's nor women's desire to bring life into the world dies. She adds a piece of advice saying that creating a pathway was a smart move. The poet is attempting to convey to us that failure paves the path for those who are bigger and stronger. Identify the main clause and subordinate clause in the given sentence. He is the man whom we all respect. He is the man is the main clause, whom we all respect becomes the subordinate clause. Read the information and complete the sentence using more or less the fewer or the fewest. So Selco has made very little profit. In fact, it has made less than any other supermarket. So Selco has made the least profit, we can tell. So moving on to the next. Workers in the third world don't earn as much money as those in Europe. Workers in the third world earn less money than those in Europe. So following our signals, so what do they indicate? So this is a pedestrian crossing you have to write. So the picture they would have given. So then you have to write school ahead. This is this you this black that is bent, this black that breaks under the weight of humiliation, this black trembling with red scars and saying yes to the whip under the midday sun. So read the above lines of the poem and explain about the atrocities done to the Africans. The poet urges the black people to stand up to the pain and the humiliation that they are suffering in their own land. He reminds them of the strength and pride they have in them and to say no to the whip of the colonist, which makes them work under the hot midday sun and leave scar on their backs. Despite the suffering, he urges them to be strong and remain unbent and not let this break them despite the weight of their suffering. Mr. Peter asks you how to go to the park from the church. Now direct him using the picture clues. So write the sentence in the given blanks below. So go past church, go dash the bridge, dash the hill, dash steps, dash street, dash 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 dash. So Mr. Peter, after entering the street, where is he directed to? So he is directed to across the hotel. So after he has entered the street. So next, Mr. Peter goes on to the dash to reach the final destination, over the flyover to reach the final destination. So change the following sentences into the reported speech. Mohan said, I am late today. Mohan said that he was late that day. So change the following sentence into complex and compound sentences. Entering the room, I saw my brother sleeping. Compound sentence, I entered the room and I found my brother sleeping. Complex sentence, when I entered the room, I found my brother sleeping. When I entered the room, I found my brother sleeping. So change the given sentence into the other degrees of comparison. No other flower is as sweet smelling as jasmine. Comparative degree. Jasmine smells more sweet than any other flower. So superlative degree, jasmine is the most sweet smelling flower. So the graph shows the information about the project CO2 emission from transport sector in Bangalore, India. So look carefully and answer the following. So project CO2 emission and transport sector in Delhi in India. So in 1999 it was between 3000 to 4000. So next in 2005 it is between 4000 to 5000. In 2010 it is between 5000 to 6000. So in 2015 it is between 7000, it is in 7000. In 2020 it is between 9000 to 10000 metric tons. What was the pollution level in 2005? In 2005 the pollution level was between 4000 to 5000 metric tons. What is likely to happen in 2020? In 2020 the pollution level is less to reach 9000 to 10000 metric tons. So when was the pollution lowest? The pollution rate was lowest in 1997 because there were very less vehicles on road. So the sequence of event has been given below in a jumbled order. So rearrange them to complete it. Okay, so moving on to this. So Anju had started journalism on his own and took up photography later. So next it will help you witness your reactions as if they were happened to someone else. He felt that he needed time to pursue his own interests and pleasures, especially after meeting Anju. The conflict had acquired a distant edge ever since he had met Anju. If you still have not found out when do you intend to enroll? Anju had turned into a friend very quickly, a much older friend. It seems to me that the pressure is worse for children of doctors. His class grades had dropped and had started skipping group tuitions. So the rearrangement comes like this. I will show it on my screen, so please look into that. The conflict had acquired a distant edge ever since he had met Anju. The Anju had turned into a friend very quickly, a much older friend. His class grades had dropped. He had started skipping group tuitions. Anju had started journalism on his own and took up photography later. It seems to be that the pressure is worse for the children of doctors. It will help you witness your reactions as if they were happening to someone else. So next it is, if you still have not found out when do you intend to enroll. He felt that he needed time to pursue his own interests and pleasures, especially after he met Anju. So moving on to the next one, fill in the blanks with suitable past perfect of the verbs given in the bracket. When I reached the station, the train had left already. By the time the teacher entered the class, the students had stopped talking. I would have failed if I not work hard. If I not had worked hard. If I walk fast, I would have won the race. If I had walked fast, I would have won the race. So find out 6 words related to different professions. One of them is already done to you. See, photographer. So the answer over here comes as pilot, artist, musician, jockey, actor, doctor, teacher, chef, scientist, journalist and engineer. Change the following into passive voices. A few days ago, somebody stole Ravi's motorbike. Ravi had left his motorbike outside his house. Ravi reported to the police. The police had told him they would try to find his motorbike. A few days ago, Ravi's motorbike was stolen by somebody. The motorbike was left outside his house by Ravi. The matter was reported by Ravi to the police. He was told by the police that they would try to find his motorbike. So the next question, write a brief appreciation with the clues provided for the poem Photographer. Shirley Towson, a photograph, two girl cousins, mother, many years, silence. The poem Photograph is an interesting piece describing how a photograph can set in motion recollection of different kinds. The photograph is also an indicator to the fact that the everything in life is transitory. What is captured years ago on the photograph is a contrast to what people turn out to be years later. The photograph can also be illustrative in nature, as it might not show exactly how the people being featured in the photograph felt at that particular point of time. The photograph can also refer to our desperate attempts to defy the passage of time and the inevitable change that makes place along with passing time. The speaker begins the poem saying, a photograph, the cardboard shows me how it was. The photograph is the speaker's mother with her cousin. The photograph features the two girls molding their hands of the speaker's mother, and the speaker knows that the photograph was taken by an uncle. The speaker is struck by the realization that her mother was sweet in her looks at the time the photo was taken. It was even before the speaker was born. While referring to the sea washing the terrible transient feet of the people who posed for the photograph, the speaker introduces a contrast between the sea and the people. People change with the passage of time, but the sea seems to have changed very little. This is an indicator to the permanence of nature and transience of man. Unfortunately, the change in human beings, both physically and emotionally, is for the worse. The smiling, sweet face of the young girl is replaced by the melancholic face of the mother. Just as physical changes are inescapable, even mental deterioration also seems to be inevitable. 20 or 30 years passed since the photograph had been taken. Whenever mother looked at the photograph, she would laugh out. She would point out to Dolly and Betty how they were dressed up by their parents for the sea holiday. That sea holiday had become a thing of the past for the mother, and that sweet laughter of the mother which the photograph had captured had become the poet's own past. Both of them suffered from the sense of loss. Ironically, both of them were laboring to ease the loss. The poet says that her mother had been dead for years. She had been dead nearly as many years as she had lived. She, the poet, has nothing to say about the circumstances of her death or about the situation captured in the photo. Silence only brings out deeper silence, and makes things mysterious. The photograph describes three stages. In the first stage, the photograph shows the poet's mother standing on the beach enjoying her holiday with her two little cousins. She was 12 or so at that time. The second stage takes us 20 to 30 years later. The mother would laugh at the way she and her cousins Betty and Dolly were dressed up for the sea holidays. In the third stage, the poet remembers the mother with a heavy heart, as the mother is already dead. The photograph revives a nostalgic feeling in the poet. Thus, through an everyday commonplace incident of a photo being clicked on a seashore, the poet is able to drive home philosophical reflections on the very nature of life. So, moving on to the next one. Read the extract and explain. I thought of the counsel that had claimed to me so many times. So this line is extracted from the prose, The Best Advice I Ever Had, penned by Vijayalakshmi Pandit. The advice of Mahatma Gandhi was that no one can harm you except yourself. This advice has helped Mr. Vijayalakshmi Pandit many times while making peace with her relatives before going to America. The second time during the opponents of UNO while addressing issues of India. The third time when the cook was totally drunk and was unaware of action and important delegates had come over Pandit's house for dinner. So 35th question, you cannot really change anything until things are ready for change. So this sentence is taken from the lesson A Question of Space, written by Neera Kashyap. This advice was given by Anju to Vikrant. Vikrant started noticing his bodily reactions whenever he was agitated by things did not change with his parents, who still retreat him like a child. When he spoke this to Anju, Anju told and that change can happen only when everyone is agreeable change. So moving on to the 36th question. So do you know a great load is on from me today? So this sentence is taken from the lesson The Astrologer, written by R.K. Narayan. The astrologer returned home late after his encounter with the man. His wife wondered why he looked worried. After dinner, he sat and told his wife that Langor had stabbed a man in his village, and feeling punishment had escaped to this city. So he was all the while feeling guilty about his act, and now felt a great load being lifted from him. So 37th question, 2 by 2 and 1 by 1. So this line is taken from the poem Tiger, written by Keki N. Daruwala. The author wants us to realize that the number of tigers had dwindled so much that there are hardly any number now. The poet laments that it's no longer burning bright anywhere because it is for its various use. So 38th question, and when my wits are rather dull. So this line is taken from the poem The Pencil Story, written by Florence Howardson. The poet means that when its lead point gets blunt and small and it requires sharpening, the pencil feels very bad that it is never allowed to grow because of sharpening. It becomes shorter and shorter. So read the given lines in the poem and explain it briefly. In ethics class, so many years ago, our teachers asked this question every fall. Is there were a fire in a museum, which would you save? A, a Rembrandt painting or an old woman who hadn't many years left anyhow? Restless on hard chairs, caring little for pictures or old age. We would opt 1 year for life, the next for art, and half-heartedly sometimes. So the poem begins with the memory of an ethics class when Paston was a child. The teacher posed a question that in case of a fire in the museum, which one would the children save, an old woman or a Rembrandt painting? The children, who were immature, could not understand the depth of the question, used to move restlessly on their chairs, choosing the old woman once and the painting next time. Sometimes the poet used to imagine that the old woman was her mother who wandered about in the museum. So once a student answered that the woman herself should decide whether she wanted to be saved or not. To this, the teacher replied that it was shirking of responsibility. So next, read the poem and answer the following questions. A chance to be a peddler bold. A peddler bold, there chance to be. He puts his pack all on his back and so merrily trudged over the lea. By chance he met two troublemen, to trouble someone they chanced to be. The one of them was bold Robin Hood, and the other was Little John so free. How did the peddler carry his pack? The peddler carried his pack on his back. How many men are in this contextual? There are 3 men in this context. Who did the peddler meet off the road? The peddler met 2 troublesome men. Name the 2 troubled men. It is Robin Hood and it was the Little John so free. Fasten my seatbelt, preparing for my return flight. I vaguely think of the future of Mauritius. Will it be able to preserve its pristine charm? It has no population problem now with its 8,500 8,500 people evenly spread over. There is hardly any unemployment question yet. People seem to live fairly well at all levels. The government is aware of all these advantages but seems to feel a certain nervousness about an economy so dependent basically on a single commodity, sugar. So it is eager to have foreign entrepreneurs start their industries here. With industrial growth, the living space will shrink, cars and trucks will increase. Their road will have to be widened to take the load. The price of the land will go up and the flats will appear. Cost of living, population, unemployment, slums, taxation, control. Oh, all these thoughts come to me from force of habit. An enlightened people can, of course, guide themselves away from such evils and still preserve its paradise on earth. What would be the future of Mauritius as an opinion by the author? So the answer comes over here. There are many thoughts that come in mind of the author when he leaves Mauritius. He thinks about his future. He thinks that will it be able to preserve its pristine charm, though it is eager to have foreign entrepreneurs start their industries here, but the chances are of increasing cost of living, problems of unemployment, etc. The author is worried that if there is increase in industrialization, then the serene beauty of Mauritius would be lost. So, our question is there. So, let me read out the question to you. My grandmother and I were good friends. My parents left me with her when they went to live in the city, and we were constantly together. She used to wake me up in the morning and get me ready to school. She said her morning prayer in a monotonous sing song while she bathed and dressed me in a hope that she would listen to get to know it by heart. I listened because I loved her voice and never bothered to learn it. Then she would fetch me wood slate which she had already washed and plastered with yellow chalk, a tiny earthen ink pot and a red pen. Tie them all in bundle and hand it to me. After a breakfast of thick slate chapati with a little butter and sugar spread on it, we went to school. She carried several stale chapatis with her for the village dogs. My grandmother always went to school with me because she was attached to the temple. The priest taught us the alphabet and the morning prayer, while the children sat in rows on either side of the veranda singing the alphabet or the prayer in a chorus. My grandmother sat inside reading the scriptures. When we had both finished, we would walk back together. This time the village dogs would meet us at the temple door. They followed us to our home, growling and fighting with each other for the chapatis we threw to them. When my parents were comfortably settled in the city, they sent for us. That was a turning point in our friendship. Although we shared the same room, my grandmother no longer came to school with me. I used to go to an English school in a motor bus. How did the grandmother help the author as a boy during his school days? The author's parents had left him with his grandmother when they went to live in a city. The author and his grandmother were good friends. She used to wake him up early in the morning, bathe him, dress him, all the while singing the morning prayer, which the author used to like listening to. She used to pack his wood slate and some earthen ink pot, his red pen, all in a bundle and gave him after providing him the breakfast of thick chapati smeared with ghee and sugar. She then used to drop him to school, wait at the temple reading scriptures, and after school bring him back to home. So 42nd question. In short, I found that he radiated such an atmosphere of good temper and kindliness that a journey with him was a lesson in natural courtesy and naughty good manners. What struck me particularly was the ease with which he got through his work. If bad manners are infectious, so also are good manners. If we encountered incivility, most of us are apt to become uncivil. But it is usually an uncouth person who can be disagreeable with sunny people. It is with manners as with the weather. Nothing clears up my spirit like a fine day, said Keats, and a cheerful person descends on even the gloomiest of us with something of the benediction of a fine day. And so it was always fine weather on the polite conductor's bus, and his own civility, his conciliatory address, and his humour bearing infected by his passengers. In lightening their spirits, he lightened his own task. His gaiety was not a wasteful luxury but a sound investment. Discuss the importance and effects of good manners. Just as bad manners are infectious, good manners are equally infectious too. Just like the sunny weather brightens people, imperfects, good behavior or manner also brightens up the day. We are civil, talk to people politely, and are good humor towards others. So we will get the same response from others too. So good manners is a sound investment with which us good sound returns. A polite man may lose the material advantage, but he always has a spiritual victory. So we have a or question over here. The place was lit up by shop lights. One or two had dazzling gas lights. Some had naked fairs struck on poles. Some were lit up by old cycle lamps, and one or two, like the astrologers, managed without lights of their own. It was a brilliant crisscross of light rays and moving shadows. This suited the astrologer very well for the simple reason that he had not in the least intended to be an astrologer when he began life, and he knew no more of that was going to happen to others than he knew that he was going to happen to himself next minute. He was a stranger to the stars as were his innocent customers. Yet he said things which pleased and astonished everyone. That was more a matter of study, practice, and shrewd guesswork. All the same, it was as much an honest man's labor as any other, and he deserved the wages he carried home at the end of the day. How efficient was the astrologer in his business! The astrologer was not a professional one who had learned his profession. He had taken up it just to sustain himself. He was as much a stranger as the stars as his customers. He had learned to say many things which pleased everyone through practice, study, and clever guesswork. He would wait for the person to pour out enough stuff and then speak in such a way that they would be very much satisfied. Thus the astrologer with his intelligence was able to sustain in his business well. So moving on, read the following passage carefully and answer the questions given below. We who live in the present day world are proud to call ourselves civilized. It is because we live and dress than our forefathers. Of course, we have the advantage of inventions of science which our ancestors had never known. But let us search our hearts and ask ourselves, has science solved our problems? Frankly speaking, the answer is no. In fact, science has added to our worries. Perhaps now we can kill more easily and swiftly than ever before, and then we have not given up the old habits of fighting. That is why we have wars after a decade or two. If we wish to be really civilized, let us learn to live in peace. Let us achieve brotherhood of man. Question: what is meant by brotherhood of man? The feeling of liking towards another person with lots of diversity in present day time, with all the diversity to stay harmoniously and peacefully with one another. Has science solved all our problems? No, the science has not solved all our problems of the world, as it has advantages of making life better and wonderful. But people have found means to end up life in much more rapid way. Write an essay about 18 to 20 sentences is one of the following topics. So, greener the world, richer our life, and the B is need for education of girls. So, and the last questions are write a letter to pawn bookseller requesting him to send a few books required by you, or write a letter to your cousin asking him to help you organize a surprise anniversary party for your parents. Greener the world, richer our life. More the green cover, better would be our health. Trees and plants provide us with pure air to breathe. This will be surely result in good health. Vegetation should be preserved at all cost. The green plants give us food. They prepare food by photosynthesis. They purify the air by taking in carbon dioxide and giving out oxygen, which is vital for animal life as well. The preservation of plants preserves the fertile topsoil and soil fertility. Green plants give scenic beauty and attract tourist places. That is why people are attracted to Bandipur and Nagarhole sanctuaries. Forest with green plants provides home for wild animals. Without forest, wildlife cannot exist. Green plants are grown in parks around dwell houses to give fresh and healthy air. It is again green plants which act as scavengers to clean the atmosphere and provide healthy air. Nowadays, forests are dwindling, enhance the temperature of the atmosphere is going up with the increase in carbon dioxide. With the denudation of forest, deserts are expanding. Since industrial revolution, man has waged a constant battle with nature, hence greenery is diminishing. We cannot replace what we destroyed at this speed. Therefore, we have to preserve green plants for our own good and stop meddling with nature. So second one topic was need for education of girls. Around the world, girls are treated as number two citizens. They live as a only to support and satisfy men. They were condemned to be within the four walls of the house. The only requirement of girls is to look after the needs of others and give birth to children. However, this is in this process of thought, we are inclined to forget that to give birth to the next generation and to lift this new generation is the basic task not only for the family but also for the society and country. For this, girls need education, and their negligence in this field is a mishap for the society and the country. But time is changing fast. Middle class and rich class have realized the necessity of educating girls. Educated girls are contributing to the welfare of society. They are excelling in each and every walk of life. They have proved to be good doctors, engineers, workers in industries, managers, lawyers, judges, etc. The problem of girls' literacy needs to be addressed first. Now it is absolutely essential to reconsider and mend the attitude towards girls and their education. More schools and colleges should be started for girls. Incentives like total free education for girls, free uniform, and midday meal will encourage more girls to attend schools. In this regard, we must remember that when a man is educated, only he is educated, but when a woman or a girl is educated, a family gets educated. So next it was the letter from Natash Government High School Kola to the manager Pavan Book House, Gandhinagar, Kola. Respected sir, purchase of books. Subject is purchase of books regarding. So I want to purchase some books from the esteemed Pavan Book House. Stop. I am in urgent need of the following books. I request you to send the following books. My valuable payable post VPP, valued payable post VPP. So serial number, so title of the books and name of the author, learners English grammar, Wren and Martin. So next it is the second one, the joy of English grammar, Jayakaran. So third is essay and letters, Doran Castro. So thanking you, yours faithfully, Natasha. So, second letter. So, dear Sunny, I hope this letter finds you in radiant health to the best of spirits. I am writing this letter to invite you to our family function on the occasion of my parents' Golden Jubilee wedding anniversary, which is on 22nd February at our clubhouse. As this is my parents' 50th wedding anniversary, I decided to celebrate grandly with all our dear ones. I have planned to invite all my parents, colleagues, and friends to cherish their young days' memories. Also, I have organized a couple of dance for all the elderly people on old melody songs. Since you are a wonderful guitarist, I would like you to play a song for my parents. It would be a great surprise for them. I would really appreciate if you visit and join us in this party, as this will be greatest time to introduce you with my whole family. They have heard a lot about you, as I always talk about the fun activities that we do together, and I also share our official true pictures with them as well. They will be truly happy to meet you. Waiting for a positive revert from your side. Hope to see you soon. Warm regards, Nitish. All the best, children. Do well.